Hello and welcome to this episode of the Diary of a Lawyer. And today I want to cover a topic in Mississippi, the belly of the southern belly of the United States. And this is a jarring case regarding six white ex-officers in Mississippi who pled guilty on committing a number of atrocious violent crimes on two innocent black human beings. So, six former police officers, according to NPR, um, including some calling themselves the Goon Squad, quote unquote, pleaded guilty Thursday to a racist assault, I think Thursday last week, on two black men that ended with an officer shooting one man in the mouth. The officers, who are all white, entered a house without a warrant on January 24th, assaulting men with a sex toy and using stun guns and other objects to abuse them over a roughly 90-minute period, court documents show. After one of the victims was shot and wounded in a mob execution, quote unquote, that went awry, documents say the officers conspired to plant and tamper with the evidence instead of providing medical aid. Consequently, the Justice Department launched its civil rights probe in February, and the Mississippi Attorney General's office on Thursday that it had filed state charges against the six men, including assault, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. I'm not so sure why they left torture out of it, because they were waterboarded, they were stripped naked, they conducted all sorts of alleged sexual assaults on them, and then put a gun in the mouth of one of them and pulled a trigger that seriously injured one of the men through the tongue and came out through the neck, among the other violent and depraved atrocities committed. Now, the five former Rankin County Sheriff's Department employees pleaded guilty, including Christian Demon, Hunter Elward, Brett McPain, Jeffrey Middleton, and Daniel Dyke. Joshua Hatfield, a former regional police officer who was off duty when he participated in the raid, also pleaded guilty. Desmond Elward and Opdyke also pleaded guilty to three federal felony offenses for a separate incident on December 4th. And prosecutors said Desmond beat a white man, used a taser on him, and fired a gun near his head to coerce a confession, while Elwood and Opdyke failed to intervene. According to the U.S. Attorney General, Merrick Garland, said that the defendants in this case tortured and inflicted unspeakable harm on their victims, adding that they egregiously violated the civil rights of citizens who they were supposed to protect. The civil rights charges come after an investigation by the Associated Press linked the deputies to at least four violent encounters with black men since 2019 that left two dead and another with lasting injuries. The U.S. law enforcement brutality has come under increased scrutiny following the 2020 killing of George Floyd by Minneapolis police and the January beating death of Tyre Nichols after a traffic stop in Memphis, Tennessee. Kristen Clark, who heads the Justice Department Civil Rights Division, said the Mississippi officers caused harm to the entire community who feel though they can't trust the police officers to solve them. Court documents say the officers took on the Goon Squad nickname because of their willingness to use excessive force and not to report it. The victims, Mike Corey Jenkins and Eddie Taro Parker, filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against Rankin County in June seeking $400 million damages, and the victims are identified in documents only by their initials, but Jenkins and Parker have discussed the episode publicly. The former officers, shackled at their wrists and feet, walked into the courthouse with family members, and federal marshals took all six into custody. The defense attorneys did not comment on their client's behavior during the court appearance. They became the criminals they sought to protect us from, U.S. Attorney Darren Lackmer said. Now they will be treated as the criminals as they are. U.S. District Judge Tom Lee said the men will be sentenced in mid-November. Dedmon and Edward H. face a maximum sentence of 120 years plus life in prison and $2.7 million in fines. Hatfield faces a possible sentence of 80 years and $1.5 million, whilst Macklin faces 90 years and $1.75 million. Middleton faces 80 years and $1.5 million, and Odai could be sentenced to 100 years with a $2 million fine. The men are scheduled to plead guilty to the state charges on August 14th, said Mary Ellen Wall, a deputy state attorney general. The officers initially went to the home in Braxton because a white neighbor apparently complained that black people were staying with a white woman who owned the house. Documents say Parker was a longtime friend of the homeowner and was helping care for her. Officers used racist slurs against the two men during the raid and warned them to stay out of Rankin County and go back to Jackson or their side of the Powell River, quote-unquote, areas with higher concentrations of black residents, the documents say. Edward shoved a gun into Jenkins' mouth and fired, according to court documents, and the bullet lacerated Jenkins' tongue and broke his jaw before exiting his neck, coming through the other side of his neck, as I mentioned earlier. Before the raid, the officers agreed to enter without a warrant if they could avoid being spotted by the home security cameras. They also planned to use excessive force but not cause visible injuries to the men's faces, so there would be no bad mugshots, the documents say. The deputies threw eggs on the handcuffed victims and forced them to lie on their backs while pouring milk, alcohol, and chocolate syrup down their mouths. They forced the men to strip naked and shower to remove the evidence. The officers also repeatedly electrocuted the victims with stun guns to compare whether the sheriff's departments or police departments were more powerful. One deputy in Middleton offered to plant an unregistered firearm at the scene. Court documents identified Dyke and Dedmon as the suspects who assaulted the two men with the sex toy. Despite recurring instances of police corruption and brutality, most officers are doing their jobs properly, said Keith Taylor, a criminal justice professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice and a former New York City police officer. And in this situation, you of course have racism and just the inhumanity that exhibited itself in officers' behavior, Taylor added. Now, Rankin County Sheriff Brian Bailey announced on June 27th that 5 deputies involved in the episode had been fired or resigned, and Hatfield was later revealed to be the 6th officer and was also fired. Bailey on Thursday said he first learned everything that happened to Jenkins and Parker when he read unsealed court documents. And this is, according to him, he says that this is the most horrible incident of police brutality I've learned over my whole career, and I'm ashamed it happened at this department. The lawyer, the attorney, representing the victims, representing Jenkins and Parker, thanked the Justice Department in a statement Thursday from Black Lawyers for Justice. The statement says these guilty pleas are historic for justice against rogue police torture in Rankin County and all over America, Shabazz said. Today is truly historic for Mississippi and for civil and human rights in America. So, a very horrifying, jarring, and depraved case. Even sadly, yeah, I understand this become the recurring incidents of brutality and violence. We come to say this is a totally different level. If there is a silver lining, is that the victims live to tell the tale and see justice in this case, whatever justice means, because the victim will be scarred for life, especially the one who had a bullet pulled in his mouth, um, lacerating his tongue and coming out the other side of the neck, which impacts him to the present day. And so, um, there we shall leave it on a heavy episode of the Diary of a Lawyer. We shall speak again, and thanks for listening. Bye.